Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're jumping into something that honestly can seriously level up your English.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Making you sound less like you're, translating everything in your head and more like you're just, speaking naturally.
Ah, okay. Sounds good.
We've got this stack material you've shared with us. It's all about mastering English idioms.
Right. Idioms, they can be tricky.
Exactly. So our mission right now is to sift through it all.
Okay.
Pull out the absolute best stuff, the key insight.
Get right to the good parts.
Yeah, so you can quickly get well informed on how these phrases actually work.
And crucially, how to start using them.
That's the goal, to sound more natural.
So why the big focus on idioms? What's the deal?
Well, the material you provided lays this out really clearly. It's quite compelling, actually.
Right.
These aren't just like extra words or fancy add-ons. No. They are, in a really fundamental way, how native speakers think.
How they think.
And how they communicate. Day-to-day stuff.
Oh, okay. So ignoring them is a problem.
It seems so. According to this, skipping them can leave your English sounding a bit stiff.
Right. Or maybe too literal.
Exactly. Too literal, maybe not quite alive,
Yeah, I can see that. It might lack that natural flow.
But here's the good news. The flip side is also true.
Which is?
Learning and using them. It's like a direct path to boosting fluency, understanding conversations faster, and just feeling more connected to English as it's genuinely used, in the real world.
That makes a lot of sense. It's true. Idioms are kind of like cultural shorthand, aren't they?
Shorthand. I like that.
Yeah, they're packed with meaning you just can't get from the single words.
No, you really can't.
Think of them as little windows into the native English mindset.
Windows, yes. And the resources you sent us, they're excellent for opening those windows.
Good to hear.
Absolutely. So what does this actually look like in practice? How do we tackle this?
Where do we start?
Right. So, based on all this material, we're going to explore what idioms actually are.
Okay, the definition bit.
Yep. Then dig into why they're so essential. We've touched on it, but let's go deeper.
Makes sense.
Then we'll give you some really concrete examples, ones you'll definitely hear and hopefully can start using.
Practical stuff, good.
And share some effective practice techniques. Look at some clever ways to, actually remember them.
Because just learning them isn't enough. You need to make them stick.
Exactly. So let's get started.
Right.
So first things first. What exactly is an idiom? Seems basic, but the material gives a really helpful definition.
Right. And the key thing here, the absolute core of it, is the non-literal meaning.
Non-literal.
Yeah. An idiom is a phrase or an expression where the meaning of the whole group of words is completely different from what you'd get if you just added up the literal meanings of the words inside it.
Okay, can you give us an example? The classic one, maybe?
Sure. The one everyone uses is, it's raining cats and dogs.
Right.
Now, if you actually pictured, little animals falling from the sky.
Which is kind of funny to imagine.
It is. But that's the literal meaning, and it's absurd, isn't it?
Totally.
But idiomatically, what it really means is just, it's raining extremely hard, very heavily.
Got it. And that gap, right, between the literal picture and the actual meaning.
Yeah.
That's precisely why they can trip learners up sometimes.
Oh, definitely. And the material points out a few reasons for this.
Like what?
Well, one big one is translation. You generally just can't translate them word for word from your own language into English.
It just wouldn't work.
It wouldn't make any sense most of the time. Another thing is culture. They can be very culture specific. Sometimes they even vary a bit between, say, British English and American English.
Interesting.
And like we just saw with the cats and dogs, the imagery itself can often be quite strange.
Or funny. Yeah.
And that's part of what makes them idioms, that unexpected, non-literal combination of words.
But here's the encouraging part, right? The material reassures us.
Yeah.
Once you start learning a few, you begin to recognize kind of the underlying patterns, or at least get used to the idea of non-literal meanings.
Exactly. It's like cracking a code. A linguistic code, but hopefully a fun one.
A fun code. I like that.
And linking this back to why they matter so much. And this is a really key point in the material.
Okay, why do they matter?
It's because they truly reflect how native speakers process information and communicate ideas.
So it's not just decoration.
No, not at all. It's not just about adding flair or sounding clever. It's about efficiency.
Efficiency. How so?
And shared understanding. Use an idiom, right?
Yeah.
And boom, you instantly convey a complex idea or a feeling or a situation.
With just a few words.
Exactly. You're tapping into this shared mental image, this cultural understanding that other native speakers just get instantly.
Which brings us squarely back to their importance. We touched on it, but let's really hammer this home based on the material. If you avoid using idioms, your English can end up feeling, well, a bit flat.
Yeah, or maybe too formal for the situation.
Could be. Overly formal or just unnatural, especially in casual conversation. It creates this kind of disconnect, you know?
It really does. It can mark you as a non-native speaker quite clearly, even if your grammar is perfect.
Right. Which raises the question, okay, what are some of these everyday idioms? The ones that are just everywhere?
Good question. The material actually lists several really common ones. A great place for anyone to start.
Okay, let's go through a few. What's on the list?
First up, break the ice.
Wow, okay. Break the ice. What's that mean?
It basically means starting a conversation, usually in a situation that feels a bit awkward or where people don't know each other.
Right, like at a party or maybe the first day of a class or a new meeting.
Exactly. You're trying to ease the tension, get people talking.
Makes sense. What else?
Hit the books.
Hit the books. This one sounds pretty straightforward.
It is. It just means to study. Usually study hard, often for an exam or something specific.
Okay, something many of our listeners can probably relate to.
I imagine so. Then there's let the cat out of the bag.
Ooh, I like this one. Let the cat out of the bag. Sounds intriguing.
It means to reveal a secret.
Ah.
Usually by accident, though, not always. It paints this great picture, doesn't it? Something that was supposed to be hidden suddenly escaping.
It really does. Okay, keep them coming.
Under the weather. This one is incredibly common.
Under the weather. Heard that a lot.
Yeah. Just means you're feeling a bit sick. Not seriously ill, maybe, but just not feeling well. Off your game.
Got it. Useful.
Very. How about piece of cake?
Piece of cake. Love this one. Use it all the time.
Right. It means something is really easy to do.
The opposite of difficult, like that homework. Piece of cake.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of the opposite,
Yeah.
what about expensive things?
Ah, good one. Cost an arm and a leg.
Cost an arm and a leg. That sounds serious.
It means something is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
Very costly. Like buying a brand new car might cost an arm and a leg.
Okay, paints a vivid picture of the high price. What about getting into trouble?
For that, we have in hot water.
In hot water!
If you're in hot water, it means you're in trouble. You've done something wrong, and you're likely facing consequences.
You can almost feel the discomfort, right? Being in hot water doesn't sound pleasant.
Not at all. Then there's bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet. What's the story here?
This is about facing a difficult or unpleasant situation with courage, or maybe just acceptance, because you have to.
Ah, so it's necessary even if you don't like it?
Exactly. You just have to grit your teeth and do it. Push through it.
Okay. Got it. Any more on this list?
Couple more. Spill the beans.
Spill the beans. Sounds messy.
It's similar to let the cat out of the bag. It means to reveal secret information.
Okay, maybe more intentional this time, like someone is pressing you for gossip.
Could be, yeah. Come on, spill the beans. Tell me what happened.
All right, and the last one?
Burn the midnight oil.
Burn the midnight oil. Sounds like hard work.
It is. It means staying up very late, usually working or studying, working long after dark.
Perfect for anyone facing deadlines or exams. Hitting the books and burning the midnight oil.
Precisely. They often go together. And the suggestion in the materials is really practical.
What's that?
Don't try to learn all of these at once. Focus on maybe just a few at a time.
Okay.
Say them out loud. And maybe try to use just, say, 2 of them today in a sentence.
That makes it feel much more manageable, doesn't it?
Yeah, and immediately applicable, not just abstract knowledge.
And to show how these actually sound when people use them, the material gives us a nice little sample dialogue.
Yeah, between 2 friends, right?
Exactly. It's just a quick chat. You want to be friend 1.
Sure. Okay, I'll start. You look tired.
Okay, I'm friend 2. Yeah, I burned the midnight oil last night, cramming for my history test.
Ouch. Was it hard?
Nah, piece of cake. But I think I'm coming down with something.
Under the weather again. You really need to slow down.
I know. My body feels like it's in hot water, but my brain still wants to hit the books.
See that? Short exchange, but packed.
Totally. How many was that? Burn the midnight oil.
Piece of cake.
Under the weather.
In hot water.
And hit the books. 5 idioms?
Yeah, 5 of them woven into just a few lines of natural sounding chat.
It really does highlight how integral they are, doesn't it? To everyday fluency.
Absolutely. And a great tip mentioned alongside this dialogue is to practice speaking these yourself. Maybe even record your own version of a little dialogue like that one.
So that's a good idea. Hear yourself using them.
Exactly. Makes it more concrete.
Now here's where the material offers a really clever practice technique. I quite liked this one.
Oh yeah. What is it?
It's called the Idiom Substitution Challenge.
Substitution challenge.
Yeah. It's designed to help you consciously replace standard, maybe slightly plain English phrases with more idiomatic ones.
I see. So you take a normal sentence.
Right. It gives an example like, I studied a lot last night. Pretty standard sentence.
Okay.
And then it asks you to think, how would you say that idiomatically using one we just covered?
So instead of I studied a lot, you'd say,
I burned the midnight oil last night.
Got it. Instantly sounds more natural, more descriptive.
Exactly. Or another one they give, I started talking at the party.
Okay. A bit bland, maybe.
Yeah. And the substitution.
Using break the ice. So, I broke the ice at the party.
Much better. It adds that layer of meaning about the initial awkwardness.
Yeah, it's more evocative.
So the material suggests you try this yourself with a few sentences. Think about this one. She got in trouble. How could you say that idiomatically?
Okay, she got in trouble thinking that she's in hot water.
Perfect. Okay, how about it's very expensive?
Expensive. The one with the body parts. It costs an arm and a leg.
Nice one. And last one. He said the secret. Remember, there are actually 2 idioms we learned that could work here.
Right. The secret revealing ones. Okay, it could be he let the cat out of the bag.
Yep.
Or he spilled the beans.
Excellent. Both work perfectly.
So the challenge, the takeaway here is for you listening.
Yeah.
Try rewriting maybe 5 sentences this week.